Yo, what is up, guys? It's Pedro here, and in today's video, I'm going to be bringing you guys another Washington Commanders weekly stream. Today it's just going to be me, but still, we have a lot to talk about. We're going to be talking about the quarterback of the future, kind of going through my options in terms of who I would like the most, and we'll go down the list. And I'll give you guys my most realistic scenario for who's going to be the starting quarterback for Washington or for the Washington Commanders. I almost said Washington football team. Week 1 of the 2022 NFL season. We'll go over kind of some guys that stood out in the Senior Bowl. We'll go over some other stuff as well. So, going to be a big stream. And we might even do, I think we will do, since it's just going to be me, we're going to be doing a mock draft somewhere in the middle or end of the stream. So, make sure you guys stay tuned for that. What is up, John? Appreciate you coming through. What's up, Razak Kelvin? What's up, Dave Quabis? And what's up, Brian? Appreciate all of you guys for coming in. So really not much news this week for the Washington Commanders. Actually, I can't say that. In terms of football, like no moves really were made, but we still, are in the news because of the wrong reasons. Dan Snyder is in the news almost every single day, and things keep popping up with Washington Commanders, Washington football team, Washington Redskins, whatever you want to call them. Things keep popping up, but Dan Snyder still remains the owner. I don't really think it's going to change. And I know the NFL, their tones kind of changed a little bit on, Dan Snyder and, the Washington Commanders. So maybe something will change. But it's just been so many things and nothing at all has really been done to Snyder and the organization. So I think at the end of the day, Snyder's going to be here to stay unless something else crazy comes out. But I just don't think if it comes down to an owner's vote, I don't think the owners are going to want to, vote out Snyder just because there's a lot of owners that probably have done a lot of the same things that Snyder's done. So, yeah, that's just unfortunate. But it is what it is. What's up, Daniel Morgan? Appreciate you coming through. And yeah, besides that, there's been rumors and stuff, but nothing big yet. We're about a month away from NFL free agency, so that's going to be really nice. And I think the combine is relatively soon. I'm going to look up when is the combine. So I guess it says March 1st to March 7th. So a little bit before free agency, and then free agency might be like the next week. Let me see. The next week, I'm trying to look up the date, but it's around then. So we're about a month away from things really, really starting to pick up. I think it's March 16th. March 16th. So that is when the date. It might be like 2 days before, but I'm excited because we're gonna the weeks leading up to that, where there's going to be a lot of talk about possibly trading for a quarterback, because I do think we're going to try to get a veteran, whether it's we're definitely going to try to get one of the big name quarterbacks, and if we can't go there, then it's unfortunately probably going to go to Jimmy G, Mitch Trubisky, maybe Jameis Winston, who I like over those two guys. But we will see. What do you guys think about the quarterback situation? What's your top choice, and what's a guy that you're dreading for to come here? So obviously, my top choice would be Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson, even Aaron Rodgers. I would probably go Russell Wilson number one, just because his price is going to be less than Deshaun Watson, in my opinion, and he doesn't have all that on his plate with all those allegations. So I would go Wilson one, Watson two, then Rodgers, then Carr, then I would go like Jameis Winston, and Jimmy G is the one I would dread. The only way I would like Jimmy G is if we trade for Jimmy G and we draft Malik Willis early on and sitting behind Jimmy G for a year. If we're just getting Jimmy G to get him, I think that would be awful. Texans have 5 weeks to trade Watson before his salary counts against the cap. Yeah, I think they're gonna try to trade him, and I think they're gonna get really, really good value. What's up, DMV Sports Zone? Appreciate you coming through. Make sure you guys go ahead and check them out. They got a bunch of content there. Not only Washington Commanders content, but they got Wizards, Capitals, and even some Nationals there too. Let's see. Johnny says, in terms of allegations, I don't think any high-profile quarterback is coming to DC until Snyder is gone. I mean, I think I agree with you, but there's still a chance. I mean, we'll see with Watson, like what his options are, how many teams are actually going to want him with those allegations on his belt, on his plate. Um, let's see. What's up, Pedro? Thoughts on realistic shot of getting Wilson? I think first off, I don't think he's gonna get traded. I think it's very unlikely he gets traded, like probably like a 30% chance, just because they have him under contract for 2 years. Pete Carroll's pretty old. He's getting up there in age. I think he's over 70. In terms of a coach, that's pretty old, and he doesn't. He's not gonna want to be around for rebuilds. So I think he'll be around for this year. I think Russell Wilson will be, but there's still a chance. And if Russell Wilson does get traded, or he does, the Seahawks start taking calls and feel like they will trade him, I feel like we are one of the teams that would definitely be up there in terms of, top destinations for Russell Wilson because, I mean, a lot of the teams that he would love to go to already have their quarterbacks. I mean, you look at the Raiders, you look at the Cowboys, those two were on his list last year. The Bears were on his list, but still, I mean, they probably want to stay with Fields for another year. Mel Garrett says Wilson is wrong pick. If they can't get him, they'll sign Jameis Winston and draft the quarterback. That I would like to sign Jameis Winston. I don't think it'll happen, but I think he had like 14 touchdowns, 3 interceptions in like 6.5 games. Had a 5-2 record. I really do like Jameis Winston as a bridge guy. He's not a guy that's gonna, be your franchise quarterback, but he can win you some games while you sit your quarterback for a little bit and develop him. And hey, maybe your quarterback's ready right away, and you don't need to play Jameis Winston. But if not, you got a good insurance policy that can get you some wins. Fight for Old DC says, I'm willing to give up 4 first, 2 seconds, and someone on our D line for Wilson. Well, I believe there's a rule where we can only give up 3 first round picks at a time. So I guess your offer would be 3 first, 2 seconds, and someone on our D line. I don't know if I would give up all that. I mean, I guess if it came down to it, maybe I'm thinking more like 3 firsts. I would say like 3 firsts and maybe a D lineman. I would first, give an offer of like 2 firsts, a D lineman, and like a mid-round pick, and then we'll go from there depending on what their counter is and if they accept that. But first, I'll start off with like 2 firsts and a player and like a mid-round pick. See if they like that and negotiate from there. But yeah, I think that's a little bit too much. But at the end of the day, he's a franchise quarterback, top 10 quarterback in my opinion. And I mean, some people I see it every video I make about Russell Wilson or when I mention him. People like, Donovan McNabb 2.0. He's, declining, all this stuff. And it's just, I do not believe that at all. I mean, this season was a quote unquote down year for Russell Wilson, and he had 25 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. And I mean, a lot of that, his stats are a little bit worse than usual because he played like he came back 2 weeks earlier than he should have, and his stats were pretty bad in those games that he did come back early from. But even in a down year, I mean, pretty much a 5-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio. That is pretty good, in my opinion. What's up, Josh? Appreciate you coming through. But I mean, I would give up a ton for Russell Wilson. And Deshaun Watson, I would give up a ton for him as well. But I think Russell Wilson is going to cost a little bit less, so that's why he's a little bit higher in my pecking order. But Watson, it looks like he will be traded this offseason because, I mean, they're going to have to. I mean, it's very likely they're going to have to trade him. What's up, Gabriel? I mean, it's really likely that they're going to have to trade him. And, the longer they wait, but probably the less value Deshaun Watson is. So, like, if they wait another year, like, it's just less and less value because he's going to be under contract for less time. Merrill Garrett says Winston gets a bad rep because of 30 interceptions in Bruce Arians' system. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, Bruce Arians' system doesn't necessarily set up these quarterbacks to have low turnover numbers. And I mean, Winston, I think he's definitely a changed man in terms of, as a quarterback. I mean, you look at, he sat behind Drew Brees for a year, played under Sean Payton for 2 years, and played pretty solid last season in the limited time. The only question really, I mean, there's more than one question, but I mean, obviously the ACL, but I think he should be fine. He's not a guy that relies on his mobility, so I think Jameis Winston should be good to go for the regular season. I mean, I think it was like week 7 where he tore his ACL, so he'll likely be back in training camp, maybe even before then. So what is your guys' like worst case scenario in terms of quarterbacks? Like mine would be we trade like a second for Jimmy G, give him an extension, and don't draft a quarterback in the first 2 rounds. Maybe like we draft like Zappy or whatever in the 4th round. Like that would be the worst case scenario for me because not only do we not have a potential franchise quarterback on the roster, but we just gave up a 2nd round pick for a below average quarterback and we're paying him $30+ million a year. That to me would be the worst case scenario. That I don't want to do at all. I mean, like, there's no reason to do that. Jimmy G, if we get him and get a rookie, I would be okay with it. Appreciate that, Merrill. But I would stay away from Jimmy G because I mean you can win with him, but your roster has to be really, really good around him. And our roster's solid, but I don't think it's at that level where the 49ers were, where they were able to win, go to the NFC championship with him, go to the Super Bowl with him. So I do not think we're there yet. And Jimmy G here, it would just kind of be like the Alex Smith scenario again. And a worse version of Alex Smith, you're going to be extending him right away because he has a 1-year deal. And that just wouldn't be good to me. That would not be a good scenario for me. Moving on from quarterbacks, we will get back to it in a second. But I was thinking about it today about, underrated players on the Washington football team. So I want to hear from you guys. Who is the, most underrated player on the Washington football team? Could be underrated to, or Washington Commanders, could be underrated to Washington Commanders fan, or could just be underrated amongst the national media. My guy would be Cameron Curl. I think he's one of the better safeties in the NFL, probably a top 5, top 7 strong safety in the National Football League. Great tackler, can get to the quarterback, solid in coverage as well. So I think that Cameron Curl is super underrated. I think that amongst Washington fans, I think he's properly rated. I think everyone knows how good he is. He's a top 3, top 4, maybe even. I mean, this year he was our 2nd best defender. But amongst the national media, I don't think anyone really even knows who he is. I really don't. Dave, yeah, I agree. Jimmy G is my worst case scenario in terms of quarterback. Like if we just get Jimmy G and that's it, maybe like a 4th round rookie, that would be terrible. What's up, Philip? Appreciate you coming through. Leno's a good one. Leno is definitely a good one. He had a solid year for us this season, and I think it was a good deal getting an extension done with him. I think he's gonna be, he's a solid left tackle. He's not elite. He's also, not terrible. He's an average to above average tackle in this league, and with John Masco as his coach, with this, scheme, I think he's a top 10, top 12. He played like, statistically, if you look at like the pressures allowed and everything, he was, played like a top 12 tackle. He did. And, that's good. I think he's definitely underrated, and I'm happy we got extended. Cole Holcomb, another guy, I think he is underrated. He was kind of playing out of position this year in the middle for a while. But, once we switched him over to outside linebacker, he was playing really, really well, and you could see that's where he needs to be consistently. And that's why we need to get a middle linebacker this offseason, is, preferably in free agency. Let me know any guy, other guys that you guys think are underrated. Mel Garrett says Deron Payne. Yeah, I guess you could say I appreciate Deron Payne. I think he's, one of the better players on our team. Arguably our best run stopper. Him and Jonathan Allen can get to the quarterback. I mean, he's just an athletic freak of nature. I mean, you see sometimes he just takes over games. And he's still super young. I think he's like 24 years old. I'm going to look it up, but 24, 25 years old. He's around that age. So yeah, 24 years old. I mean, he's still super, super young, and he's got a lot of potential. And I think they need to figure out right now, and they probably already did it, identify who do you want to keep on the defensive line. They already kept Jonathan Allen. I assume they're going to want to keep Chase Young. So I think those guys are going to keep. And now I hope they already decided, but if not, they got to decide in the next few weeks, who do they want to keep? Montez Sweat or Deron Payne? you choose one of those two. Let's say you choose Daron Payne, then you got to be including Montez Sweat in your trade offers for these guys. And if not, you don't have to trade him this offseason. If you pick Montez Sweat, on the other hand, that's when I think you should trade Daron Payne this offseason because it's very unlikely you're able to keep Chase Young, Jonathan Allen, Montez Sweat, and Daron Payne. So you might as well get value when you can. So you could trade Daron Payne, get a second or third round pick. Or if you want to keep Payne, then you could probably next offseason, if Montez Sweat has a good year, you could trade him for like a first round pick. Depends on his year. Because, I mean, if he has a monster year, 14, 15 sacks, which, I don't think is going to happen, but you never know. Let's say he has double digit sacks next year, his value goes up. Maybe you don't even want to trade him. Let's see. Dave in DC says, Jamin Davis is an athletic freak and will have a great second year for coaches play him. I mean, I think he was another guy that was, we thought he could be a middle linebacker. That's a missed evaluation. Doesn't matter how well he plays the rest of his career. We missed on his evaluation because they thought he was going to be a middle linebacker. And, before the first year even was over, they knew he wasn't a middle linebacker. So they missed on the evaluation of Jamin Davis. That does not mean he can't be a good player. I think he's going to be a good player playing primarily on the outside next year. I think that's going to really suit him. You're going to see, like Dave and DC said, his athleticism kind of take over. And he's going to be better suited to play there. We saw some big plays this year. I'm hoping for more next year. And Jamin Davis is always going to be a project. He started 1 year at Kentucky and didn't even play a ton this year. So it's expected that he's not super developed. That's why I wanted to take Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, and I was fine if we took Davis, but I was more kind of saying like I wish we would have traded back because it would have been great, because I think he would have been there if you trade, back into the mid 20s, you get another first round pick or a second round pick, and you still get Jamin Davis. I think they could have done that. And what's up, Sway Run? Appreciate you coming through here. That's what I think would have been an ideal scenario because not only do you get the player you wanted, but it's very likely he would have been there in the middle 20s. And if not, you go get Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. You get Nick Bolton, who had a great rookie year. So that's something where I think he's going to have a good year. And, if he turns out to be good, that's going to help us, help our defense. I mean, he has those athletic traits. He's a speed demon. He's strong. He has an insane vertical jump. The speed, though, I don't know if it's a little deceiving because at times I see that speed, but there's times where, like, I think it was one time this year where he was trying to track down Derek Carr, and I don't know if he wasn't trying or whatever, but he was slower than Derek Carr on that play. So, I mean, we'll see, but I'm excited to see what Jamin Davis can do this year. This is a big year for him. It's only his second year. He's a first-round pick. I mean, he's obviously going to be on this roster this next season and probably at minimum the year after that, but it's a big year for him because, if he doesn't produce this year, then questions into his, are going to be up in the air in his third year. Like, is he going to be starting this year? Is he, a bunch of questions where those questions should not be asked for a guy you just drafted in the first round. What's up, One Live Music? What's up, Peyton the Great? And yes, Merrill Garrett. Now that you're, transitioning him to the outside, send him on some more blitzes. They did it at the, in that Giants game. I loved what they did. They didn't play him enough, but they started, sending him on some blitzes, and he was getting some pressures. And I believe he got a sack too. So that is something. Send him on a blitz 5+ times a game. He's gonna be playing on the outside, so I think they can do it. That's a good point, and I definitely think they should do that. Any other players you guys think are underrated? Let me go through some. Wes Schweitzer, I think he's very elite backup, and he's a good starter. He is a good starter in this league. An average to above average starter when he does play. So I'm excited to see what he can do this year. I'm trying to think of other underrated players. I mean, John Bates, I think everyone knows how good he was this year. But I mean, I think he had it is PFF, so you got to take it with a grain of salt. But he was the number one run blocking tight end this year. So, I mean, he's already, what John Bates did this year was what we thought he would be in like 2-3 years. And he's already an elite blocker. And, he's going to be able to develop into a solid pass catching tight end. What's up, Door Gunner? Appreciate you coming through. Yeah, I mean, he is one of my favorite players. John Bates is one of my favorite players. Had like over, I can't remember. Let me look up his stats. I know he had one touchdown, and probably around 250 yards. But really liked what he did this year. One of my favorite players, and I'm excited to see what he can do this year. I think we found ourselves a good backup tight end. Guy that's an elite blocker, so he's going to be playing a lot, no matter what. And he's also a threat as a pass catcher. He's got good hands, able to make some contested catches, and he's able to. I think people need to give him a little bit more credit in terms of his run after catch ability because he's able to. He's obviously not super quick, but he's able to break some tackles. He got 249 yards, so I do like him. Let's see, DeAndre Carter. Yeah, I mean DeAndre Carter is solid. I mean, I think they used him less and less in the kind of in that last half of this last like 6 weeks of the season. But I did like what DeAndre Carter did. I think they should bring him back as a kick returner. And honestly, I don't really like him as a punt returner that much. That might be an unpopular opinion, but I think sometimes he fields punts that he shouldn't. Sometimes inside the 10 he'll field it when he probably shouldn't. But he's a great kick returner, better than what we've had in a long, long time, probably since Brandon Banks. So I like him, and I think we should bring him back. And he's a guy that if you need him to step up, if you need him, if your first few guys are injured on offense, your receivers, he can go in there, provide a spark. He's kind of like a soup down Curtis Samuel. He can do some of the things that Curtis Samuel does, but just at a lower level. Eric Flowers, that is a good one. He's underrated. Very good guard. We got him. I mean, that was a very good move. There was questionable moves made this offseason, like drafting Jamin Davis at 19 when they probably could have done it later if they traded back. But one of the best moves was trading for Eric Flowers. It's an awful move by, I think, Chris Greer from the Dolphins. I mean, traded. We basically swapped seventh round picks, and I think it was like a difference of like 10 spots for Eric Flowers, and they paid 2/3 of his salary this season. I mean, that was an insane trade, and he's under contract for 2 more years, I believe. At least this year, maybe even next year as well. So I mean, that is a great, great trade by Martin Mayhew and Marty Hurney, and that was a great move. And yeah, he's a pretty good guard in this league, and yeah, that was a great trade. Yeah, Chase Woolley is pretty good. I think he's pretty underrated in terms of national media. I mean, not a lot of people know who centers are. There's only a few that a lot of people know, but yeah, he's a top 10, arguably better than top 10 center in this league. There we got the commies jokes already. We know that's going to be happening all season, especially when we do lose. So we're going to go ahead and do a mock draft pretty soon, probably in like 10 minutes or so. And we've been talking about this for a while, but give me your top 4 guys that you want to bring back this year in terms of free agents on our team. So I would go J.D. McKissic, number 1 by far. I would go, and what's up, Vance? I would go J.D. McKissic, Joey Sly for sure. Those 2 guys. I'm trying to think of who else. I think Cam Sims as 3, and then DeAndre Carter as 4. I would bring back Bob McCain, but I think I would bring those other guys over him. But Bob McCain, if we can get him back for cheap, I would definitely do it because he's like an average starting free safety. He's not an elite guy, but he's an average guy who did play better as the season went on. Like the second half of the season, he played pretty well. So I would definitely take him if we can get him for pretty cheap. That is me though. You guys can let me know down below in the comments section, or in the chat. So Peyton the Great says, which uniform or what uniform do you like the most? I would say the burgundy. The white is growing on me, but I think that I definitely like the burgundy just because it's similar to what we had in the past. I mean, it's very similar to what we've had in the past. So I would go with that one. I would go with that one. And the white one, I mean, you see these uniforms on the players and it definitely grows on you. So I don't really have an issue with the uniforms. The white one is still hard to adjust to because it's really nothing like what Washington has had in the past. But nonetheless, I definitely it's growing on me. And I think the one thing though, I think they would. I think the logo could use some changing. Like they don't need to necessarily get a mascot, but like maybe incorporate some like monument or capitol or whatever, the Capitol building in the logo or whatever. But it's fine. Brian says Chase Young projections for 2022. Honestly, I have no idea. I mean, I had very very high expectations for him this past season. I thought he was going to have like 12 plus sacks and be in the running for defensive player of the year. Like I didn't think he was going to win it, but I thought he had a good chance of being top 5, top 6, and that was nowhere near like the case. I mean, he first off he missed half the season, and even when he was playing, he just was not anywhere near what he was last year. He wasn't a bad player. He was still a solid player. I mean, he was tracking double teams, still getting some pressure on the quarterback, but not what we wanted in our number 2 overall pick edge rusher from the year before, who just won defensive rookie of the year before. So disappointing year for sure. And he's coming off a ACL injury. I do not think that's a big deal. Sorry, I don't think it's a big deal at all. I mean, you see these guys come back from ACLs like it's nothing now, especially when it happens, somewhat early in the season. I mean, Chase Young has happened, in the middle, so that might be a little bit of an issue. But you look at Nick Bosa. You look at Nick Bosa he got hurt 2 seasons ago, or yeah, the season before this season, and he balled out this year, 15 and a half sacks. So we need that to happen to Chase Young. We really do need it to happen to Chase Young, and maybe it will. I mean, you look at their careers, both coming out of Ohio State, both number 2 overall picks, both had great rookie years, one defensive rookie of the year, both teams made the playoffs, and both second season guys, tore their ACLs and their team struggled. So, maybe that will happen, and then the next year, obviously, Bosa goes out there and balls out. So let's hope Chase can do that. Let's hope he can do that. Let's hope, he kind of humbled himself in this process. I really, really hope, he was humbled a little bit. I hope in that stretch where we were winning, he saw like what playing the scheme, listening to the coaches, being disciplined can do for you, because that was an issue. Ron Rivera called him out and called out Montez Sweat before that during the bye week. So that is something that I mean, they have to do. They got to be more disciplined. And that's also on the coaching. That is on the defensive line coach. I mean, you look at how the offensive line plays, they're not a top 5 talented group in the NFL, not even close. But they played like a top 5, top 10 unit. I'll say top 10. Top 10 unit this past season. And you know why? Because the players are good. More importantly, the coaching is great. They play disciplined football. The offensive line coach John Matz was able to develop these young guys, help these young guys mesh. Even though they had 3 new starters on the offensive line, I'm trying to think. Heading into week 1 of the season, Charles Leno did not start the year before. Eric Flowers did not start the year before, and Sam Cosmi did not start the year before. So 3 different starters on that line, and they still played pretty well. And of course, the last freaking 10 weeks this season, they're playing with 4th, 5th string guys. So I really think that I wish we would have gotten rid of Sam Mills, but it looks like we're bringing back the exact same staff from this season, which I'm fine with keeping the coordinators, but I do think some other changes would be nice to make. D-line coach, linebackers coach, but it is what it is. Sway Run says, are we going to sign Brandon Scherff back? I do not think so. I mean, he didn't want to sign back with us last year. We gave him a super high offer, and I don't think he's going to sign back with us this year unless his market is super, super low, and it turns out to whatever we offered last year is what his market is, and then in that case, then maybe. But I don't want to pay him. I mean, I'll pay him 15 mil, 16 mil, but I'm not paying him 19, 20 mil a year, which is probably what he's going to get. I mean, he's a good player, even a great player, but he's not in the same class, in my opinion, as Quentin Nelson, Batonio, and Zach Martin. He just isn't. he isn't. So I much rather go not pay him because he also misses 5 games a year. He also misses 5 games a year. Yeah, I mean he didn't sign back because I mean it wasn't necessarily a smart thing to do to re-sign because the franchise tag gave him a guaranteed $18 million. So I get what he was doing, but at this point it's been drawn out too long, and I'll just take the third round comp pick, which is what we're gonna get. So I'll rather do that, sign Wes Schweitzer or keep Wes Schweitzer, have him start, or sign someone for cheap in free agency. I'd rather do that than keep Brandon Scherff and dig into that money that we're gonna need for Terry, Chase, maybe Montez, Deron Payne, some of these other guys. So those are my thoughts right there. I just at this point, Deron Payne, I don't really want him. Sway Ron says, "Would you be fine if we end up with Jimmy G?" I said this earlier. For me, I don't think he's as bad as some people think, but it would be one of the worst case scenarios for me. Just be unless if we trade for Jimmy G and draft Matt Corral or especially Malik Willis, who's a developmental guy, I'm fine with. I'm fine with that for sure. But if we trade for Jimmy G and maybe draft a guy in the third round and extend Jimmy G and pay him like 30 plus million a year, that's when I'm like, no. That's when I'm like, nah, I don't want to do that. But if we're trade for like a third, because a second round is too much for him. But like let's say it's like a third round pick, and we trade for him, extend him, and draft Malik Willis or someone like that. Because I don't think like if you draft Jimmy G, like Kenny Pickett is like he's gonna be he's an NFL ready quarterback. Like he's the most NFL ready quarterback out of this class. So if you draft Pickett, you might as well play him. You might as well play him to start the season. But if it's like Malik Willis or Matt Corral, maybe Desmond Ritter, one of those guys are a little less NFL ready, and those guys might take some time. So that's when that something like that could happen. Let's see. Hunter says, yeah, I mean, we talked about Russ earlier. What would I give up for him? So first, my initial offer would be, I'll give you two firsts. I'll give you two firsts, your pick of Deron Payne or Montez Sweat, and then I think the league values Montez Sweat a little bit more, and then also I'll throw in a like fourth round pick, and that probably won't do it. But after that, I'll be like, I'll add in another pick, or yeah, I mean, the max I would go is probably three firsts, and a D lineman. That's probably my max right there. One Life Music says, "Do you think the Eagles may really be in the Wilson race? If so, I don't. Yeah, I think they definitely could be, and that's the case. I mean, you're right. I mean, I think they have cap space, and yes, they have 3 first round picks this year, and a first round pick the year after that, and a year after that. That's why I'm like, I love, I think teams should trade back more, especially if you're like a team like Washington, who last year they did not have their quarterback of the future on their roster. They knew they were going to, need to get a quarterback the next year. Why not trade back in the first round? You're picking at 19. Jamin Davis is on the board. Jeremiah Uso-Cormo is on the board. Jamin Davis was going to be there at 25, 26. So why not trade back, get another, maybe it's only a future second round pick, but I think, trading back a bunch of spots, I feel like you can get a first round pick, probably a future first round pick. I think they could have done that. And then you have 2 first round picks this year to play with. I mean, you can take 2 players, you can, trade back again, keep on, adding, accumulating those assets, or you can use that to trade for a quarterback. But they didn't do that. They drafted Jamin Davis at 19. Yeah, but I would give up a ton for Russell Wilson. But yeah, there's going to be teams that have more than us to trade for. And you look at the Eagles too for Deshaun Watson. So that is definitely something to look out for. And I hope they love Jalen Hurts because Jalen Hurts is okay, but he's not a franchise quarterback in my opinion. And I hope they keep him and don't go after any of these other guys. Winning says, "Do you see the Kyler news? If he's in trade talks, he might be the most appealing target." I don't believe any of this stuff. I mean, I don't know. He just wiped some of the stuff on his social media, and then the Cardinals kind of did the same thing as him. They because Kyler Murray wiped all of his Cardinal stuff off and just had 2 pictures posted, and the Cardinals today did the exact same thing. I think they're just trolling around. So I don't think there's anything into that. I really don't. I don't think he's going to be available. I mean, why would they make him available? I mean, maybe Kyler Murray's frustrated, but still don't think they're going to trade him. I don't think they're going to trade him. And yeah, we'll see. Brian, I think so. Yes, the Bears did. They did. I mean, allegedly that was offered, but it really was the Seahawks just didn't want to trade him at that point. And if they don't want to trade him, then that deal this year is not going to get him done. But once they do are open to trading for him, I think a deal like that would be accepted. I really do. Sway Run says, "What's your opinion on Curtis Samuel?" I like Curtis Samuel. I thought he was going to have a huge year for us this year. Unfortunately, hurt the whole year, but I think if he stays healthy, big if, I think he's gonna have a good year for us. I think he's gonna have a solid year. Played in this offense before, has some chemistry with some of the other guys on this team and Terry, and I think he's gonna have a big year. But the thing is, you can't. I think our receiving core is gonna be improved, but you can't count on Curtis Samuel and De'Ami Brown because I don't want another year where it's Terry playing with a bunch of bums. I'm sorry. Besides Cam Sims, a lot of the guys he's been playing with the last few years, they're not it. I mean, you look at especially in 2020 when it was like Dontrell Inman, Robert Foster, AGG. I mean, at least this past season we had Adam Humphries in there, who is a capable NFL receiver, and we had Cam Sims, but they just weren't playing him as much. But yeah, I think we have to go out and sign someone. Like, it doesn't have to be Devontae Adams, Allen Robinson, but even just like a Cedric Wilson or, this would be higher up there, but Christian Kirk or Jacoby Myers, someone where like he's not going to go out there and, be a number one receiver. But if your guy does go down, if Terry, God forbid, goes down, or if Curtis Samuel or De'Ami Brown goes down, the guy's going to be able to get 600-ish yards. So I think that would be definitely something we should do. So Sway asks, 2 free agents you want us to sign. So at quarterback, if we're not able to get any of the big name guys that I like in the trade market, Rodgers, Watson, Wilson, Carr, which again, don't think it's very likely. I think 2 free agents I'll give you guys 2 receivers, Christian Kirk and Cedric Wilson. A quarterback, I was just talking about quarterback. Jameis Winston, I like him. I think, he would be a good bridge guy. And then linebackers, I like Leighton Vander Esch. I know the guy's name, but I cannot pronounce it. Linebacker for the Falcons, he would be good. Devondre Campbell, those kind of guys would be solid in my opinion for the Washington Commanders. But yeah, let's see. So let's move on to a mock draft real quick. Let me pull it up. We'll decide on how many rounds we want to do. How many rounds do you guys want to do? Go ahead and comment that in the live chat. I mean, I've been doing kind of 4 rounds because I don't know all these guys in the 6th, 7th round. And when I do it, I'm mostly just going off of positional value. But we'll see what you guys want to do. We'll go ahead and do it. You just comment down below how many rounds you guys want to, you want this mock draft to be. And yeah, I think Cam Sims winning would be nice to bring him back on a cheap deal because he's a good locker room guy. I think Ron Rivera likes him, and I think you can get him for relatively cheap. It's not going to be super cheap, but you can get him for a couple mil, in my opinion. You definitely can. Let me see. We'll go ahead and do, and we got over 50 people in here, so appreciate you guys supporting the channel. Go ahead and like, subscribe if you guys are new, and go ahead and follow my Twitter as well. I'd really appreciate it. So, Peyton says 7. I know he's a draft guy. Hunter says first as second. I'm going to go a little bit in between. I'll go 5 rounds. We really want to switch, if we really want to go more, I'll do that later. Maybe we have time for more than one mock draft. But we'll go ahead and do this right here. And I'm going to try to be realistic because some of these guys that are available in the first or even second round, I know they're not going to be there. So I kind of want to be a little bit realistic. Let's see. Okay. And I want you guys to help me in the chat. So you guys let me know who you want me to pick. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead here. Let's see who's available. So we'll first go quarterbacks. So Kenny Pickett is available. They recently redid their rankings. So Malik Willis is getting drafted pretty much every time before we go there, which surprising. I don't think he's going to, I don't know. I don't think Malik Willis is going to go before Kenny Pickett. Unless things change. But at this point, I think a lot of teams have Kenny Pickett over, Malik Willis, but it is what it is. Receivers, they got Burks here, Jameson Williams, who I love, Garrett Wilson, who I love. Chris Olave is available. I like Chris Olave, but I like Garrett Wilson a little bit more. And let's go to linebacker. I think most of the guys, Nakobe Dean's available. Who else? Devin Lloyd. So any guys you like, I think I'm gonna go take Pickett. But I could. Yeah, Philip, I saw that. That they took off Riggins' jerseys. I think he asked them to take it off, which surprising. I mean I didn't think he would be feel that type of way, but I mean I guess all these players who play for the Redskins have I mean they have different opinions than us. He doesn't like the name change at all. Doesn't want to be associated with, and some of the guys were at the name change event. So let's see. Peyton the Great says BPA. Well, here's the thing with I mean, definitely. I mean, you want to take the best player available, but to a certain extent, like Jordan Davis is the best player available here. First off, I don't think he's better than a lot of these guys on the board, and we're not taking an interior defensive lineman in the first round. That's just not the case. I will. You know what? I'll switch it up a little bit. I will switch it up a little bit. I like Kenny Pickett. I like Kenny Pickett more. I like Kenny Pickett more than Matt Corral. Definitely like him more. I haven't watched enough film on Corral. I've watched like 3 games on Pickett, but we'll take Corral just to switch it up because almost every mock draft where I do take a quarterback is Kenny Pickett. So let's go ahead, switch it up a little bit, and we'll take Matt Corral. We'll take him just to switch it up a little bit. But I do like Kenny Pickett more. Just want to go ahead and say that. Winning says Nike game jersey selling at 83, limited at 104. Really? I'll go ahead and check that out. A lot of fans like Sam Howell. I mean, I'm not a huge Sam Howell fan. I mean, I think he's good, but I would not take him at 11. Probably not in the first round. Okay, second round. This is where it gets interesting. So we could go. I like David Bell a lot. Let's see. Who's the best? So David Bell is the best player available. I like that. Interior defensive line is the next best player available. Winfrey, I believe, was at the Senior Bowl. Don't want to take him. Cornerbacks, definitely position here. But best player available, I think by far that would make sense for us right here would be David Bell, who plays at Purdue. I really, really like him. He's a good route runner. 6'2", 205 pounds. He's going to be able to play outside for you on the perimeter. And yeah, I definitely like him. And I think what was the game he went completely berserk? I think it might have been Ohio. It was one game where he went crazy. It might have been Iowa where he says best game right here. But he's a good route runner. Solid at contested catches. Not super super quick. Solid at yards after catch in my opinion. Some people don't think so, but I definitely think he's solid in his yards after catch. So I'll go ahead and take David Bell unless any of you guys have an objection. And yeah, I'm probably going to be doing mock drafts kind of every like 2-ish weeks. I mean, once free agency, like 2 weeks before free agency, I'll probably stop for a bit, focus on free agency primarily, and then after that, that's when I'll be, after free agency, obviously I'll be putting out mock drafts a ton every week and a half, every 2 weeks. So right here, wow. So Carson Strong is still available in the third. I mean, it's good value, but we already took Matt Corral, so I don't think that's what we want to do here. Tight ends. Oh, this is the spot where I would potentially think about trading out of. What do you, ooh, wait, is my guy here? Yes, my guy is here. I've done it a ton, so I don't know if you guys want me to do it, but Chad Muma, Chad Muma, I really, really like him. I mean, I think, he would be a great guy to get in he might go in the second, but in the third round, I would absolutely do it. But we'll go away from it just because I've taken him a lot lately, but he's a guy I really like. He's a guy that I think is going to be a really good linebacker, great coverage guy, solid in the run game, very good tackler. So I watched a couple of his games on film. Pretty good linebacker. Can play in the middle. So what are you guys thinking here? Receiver is the best. I think is the best player available in Pickens, but I'm not taking a receiver here. Right, we just took one. I think running back is a little too early here to take a running back. Tight end could be a scenario where we do take tight end. I don't think it's a huge need, but I mean it wouldn't hurt to add another tight end in my opinion. I mean it wouldn't really hurt to take another tight end. So I'm gonna put up a poll here for you guys to answer. So I'll go who should I pick? We'll go what should the options be? I'll go tight end. Tight end. I'll go Muma, who's a linebacker, tight end, or we'll go RB and then other. So I just put that there. Go ahead and answer that. So, I kind of want you guys to answer this. Safeties are definitely another one. Let's see. I want to go to this right here. See the best free safeties available. And I think this is good for anyone to do it. Just familiar, you get more familiar with the draft, the guys that are available in the draft, and that's why I kind of like to do like slowly start to add rounds. So not good value at all in terms of safeties right here. We're picking at 73. Best player available is at 113. So I think safety would be out of the question with this selection. Um, Hunter says, I feel like you can take running back at any round and they can do at least solid. So, yeah, that's why I would not take them in the third round because if you can get a running back in the seventh, why not do that? Because, a lot of the good running backs in this league were not drafted in the first few rounds. I mean, you look at like James Robinson, who had a, great couple years so far for the, Jaguars. He was undrafted. You look at Elijah Mitchell this past season. I think he was a late round pick after fifth round. He had a really good year, over 900, rushing yards. So I don't think taking a running back is a good idea unless he's by far, the best player available. So let's see. So far, we got like 10 votes, and most people are saying Muma. Others are saying tight end. So I'll let you guys decide for a little bit more. Trey McBride, I like him. He's got in the Senior Bowl, he had a good connection with Kenny Pickett. Obviously, we didn't take Pickett. Another guy I like, Jeremy Ruckett from Ohio State. Great hands, pretty quick. Let me pull up his scouting report. 6'5", 250 pounds, and we're not really looking for that good of a blocker because we have a great blocker in John Bates. It would be an added bonus to get a good blocker, but we're looking for a guy that's going to be really good in the passing game, and I think Jeremy Ruckett would be that guy. So I'm going to go ahead and take Chad Muma, but if I would take someone else, it would be McBride or Jeremy Ruckett. I really, really like those guys. So I'm going to go here, and we'll go ahead and take Chad Muma. I like him a lot. He played at Wyoming, but so did Logan Wilson, who is starting middle linebacker or I think he's a middle linebacker. He might just be an outside linebacker, but he's been great for the Bengals. I think 5 picks this past season, had a really good year, over 100 tackles as well. So, just because you play at a small school doesn't mean you're not a great player. So here we're at pick a fourth round pick. So could go tight end here. Linebackers are available as well. I'm trying to see interior offensive line. Is that available at all? Ooh, Spencer Burford is a guy that we could get. Still solid. What do you? I'll put another poll here. Let you guys decide this. I might decide the player, but you guys can decide the position, we'll go interior. Let me see. Let's see. Interior offensive line, or we'll go interior offensive line or tight end. I don't know why it's not letting me. There we go. Pick interior offensive line or tight end. There we go. I don't know. I think interior offensive line would be a good. It would be good to pick interior offensive lineman in the 4th to 6th round because I don't think we have a 5th round pick this year because we traded for Cameron Cheeseman. But I think getting some offensive line depth would be good here. It doesn't have to start right away, but guards usually can develop into starters in their first 2 years. But just get some depth. Add some depth with Sadiq Charles. But tight end, I think I'll let you guys decide. But I think interior offensive line right here would be the pick in my opinion. Just because you always need depth at that position, and I think you definitely be the move right here. And let me see. So we're gonna go ahead and wait for a few more people to pick. But yeah, I'm gonna go interior offensive line here, and we will take Spencer Burford right here. Not gonna lie, don't know much about him, but yeah. And I forgot, I did 5 rounds, but we don't have a pick in the 5th round. So we'll go ahead and call that. We're not going to do another mock draft today. We'll because I know they do get a little bit repetitive. I'll wait until next couple weeks. We'll do some more and more until the season, until the draft starts. I'm going to continue to do those. Should be very, very exciting. So any questions you guys have, go ahead and ask them. And then also I'll talk about the Super Bowl a little bit, give you guys my pick at the end of it. So let's go ahead. Here is the draft. So Matt Corral, I would have taken Pickett, but I kind of want to switch it up a bit. David Bell, Chad Muma, and Spencer Burford. And I think that's a solid draft so far. And I do hope we maybe can trade some players, get some more draft capital, to go trade for a quarterback or just get some players. I mean, you got some players that you can trade for. I don't think we're going to have any compensatory picks this year, but you lose Brandon Scherff, Tim Settle. I think next year we'll have some compensatory picks. Like we'll probably get like a 3rd for Scherff, probably like a 5th for Settle, which, better than nothing. Definitely better than nothing. And yeah, center is definitely a position we could upgrade at. Let's see. Van says, if Jarvis Landry gets cut, do you sign him? I mean, I would be open to it. Depends on what we do. If we can get him for cheap, I would do it. I'm not paying a lot of money for Jarvis Landry. I think he's all right. He's nothing special, though, at this point in his career. Let me pull up the stats. He's a good veteran receiver to have on the team. Like, he's not going to create that much drama. What did he have? 570 yards this year. He struggles with injuries, but he was playing with Baker Mayfield. But I'm not giving him a ton of money, but I would be okay with him. I'll definitely be okay with him. Another guy that I would not mind from the Browns would be David Njoku. I think he is a free agent, if I'm not mistaken. David Njoku. I do not mind him at all. I think he would be a really, really solid option. I mean, he didn't. They underutilized him. He still had a solid year, 475 yards and 4 touchdowns. But he's a freak of nature. Yeah, he's a free agent this year, so I would not mind him at all. Him or Jarvis Landry. What's up, Eclipse? Appreciate you coming through. And yeah, if we somehow trade for Russ this year, I'm immediately getting a jersey. I'm not sure which one I'm gonna get because I already have all my jerseys are burgundy. Pretty much, I have like 5, so I think I need to switch it up a little bit. But I don't know if I dig the white jerseys that much. I don't know. It just doesn't seem like feel like Washington to me. But I might as well. I might go ahead and just pick one up. We'll see though. If we don't get a big name quarterback, it'll probably be Jonathan Allen. If we do get a big name quarterback, any of the top guys, I'll go ahead and cop his jersey immediately because we haven't had a franchise quarterback in a long time since probably Ripien. and Theismann. I mean, that's how bad it's been. I mean, it's been like 30, 25, yeah, 30 plus years. 30 plus years. I think edge is a position we can definitely go for. And, I would rather, though, get a veteran edge rusher, to help out. Yeah, Ripien wasn't even that good. So I don't even know if he was a franchise quarterback, but he was good enough to win a Super Bowl. But I would say I would rather get a veteran edge rusher. A veteran edge rusher. You can get a draft pick, but get a veteran guy that can help Chase Young and Montez. So One Life Music, I really, really appreciate the donation. Burgundy helmet, black jersey, burgundy pants would be most elite combo. 31-30 or 24 Rams. Yeah, I like the burgundy helmet a lot. Black jersey. I like the black jersey. I don't know. I mean, I need to see that combo all together in the same, in a picture to know how good it was. I love the burgundy helmets. I love them, the matte color there. The black jersey is growing on me. I like the burgundy pants. And my pick, so I'll go ahead and give my pick right now, and you guys can in the comments down below. We'll still talk the Washington Commanders. Go ahead and give me any questions you guys have. But I'm going 27-20 Rams. Maybe I'll switch it up a little bit, but I like the Rams in this game. Rams' strength is their D line. One of their strengths is their D line. They have a lot of strengths. And then the Bengals' weakness is their offensive line. So I think that's not a good combination for the Bengals. So that's why I'm gonna go. With the Rams on this one. And Stafford gets a ring, Von Miller gets a ring, and I think I think a sleeper. If anyone here bets, I'm not doing it, but I saw the odds is like 50-1 odds for Von Miller to win Super Bowl MVP. That is definitely one that I would look out for because I think he could definitely do it with that weak offensive line with the Bengals. So someone asked what defensive lineman, and appreciate the donation. One Life Music really helps out the channel. I'm not saying to go after a big name edge rusher. I'm not at all. I'm saying like a guy that you can get for the rookie or not the veteran minimum, maybe a couple more. Let me look at I'm pulling up the list right now. So there's some guys that you could definitely go after. What's his name? Olivier Vernon he didn't play this past season, but he would be a guy that would definitely be an option. Let's see. Justin Houston, I think he'd be cheap. He is old, but again, I think a veteran would be a good idea. Get someone like that. Dante Fowler, he's going to be expensive, so I'm not going to go ahead and get him. I'm trying to see some other guys. Jason Pierre-Paul is a free agent, but he's probably going to ask for a decent amount of money. But someone like that can get some, can get to the quarterback for you if you need them. Like these are guys that I'm not necessarily going out. I don't want them to play, but it's kind of insurance. If Chase Young goes down, if Montez Sweat goes down, you have a veteran in there, and also you have a guy that can help these guys in the film room, can help them, just in every aspect of the game. That was something that we missed with Kerrigan gone. Didn't really miss Kerrigan in terms of the player because he was great, but this past season for the Eagles really didn't do much. But in terms of the leadership ability, that's where it kind of hurt us. Let's see. One Life Music waited for the rebrand to get a Terry jersey, classic burgundy, black is reserved. Yeah, I already have a Terry jersey. I have a Terry Chase Young jersey, Ryan Kerrigan jersey, Robert Griffin III jersey, and Kirk Cousins jersey. I was not did not want a Kirk Cousins jersey. I asked this a while ago, but I asked for a Redskins jersey for Christmas. I think I can't remember what name I gave, but it wasn't Kirk, but I got Kirk. And he was gone after 2 years. But yeah, I'm looking to get a white jersey. It's probably going to be Jonathan Allen, but of course, if we get a big name QB, right away going to go get one of those. Tyron Williams, appreciate the $5 donation. We should get Mariota. He's elite, and we can get the defensive end from Florida State as our first round pick. And how do I join your channel? Here's the thing with Mariota. I think he is super, super talented. I know Ed Oliver likes him. I'm an Oregon fan, so of course I like him. I mean, he was really, really great at Oregon. Had a couple great years. Had a couple great years with the Titans. I think he had a Pro Bowl year. Got him a playoff win. The biggest issue with him is his injuries. That's the biggest issue with him. I mean, I wouldn't mind it if we do, get Mariota and a rookie, but there's some other options I prefer over Mariota, but there's definitely options I like. I mean, like Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton, I much rather have Mariota than Andy Dalton. Nick Foles, much rather have Mariota. There's definitely a bunch of guys that I'd rather have Mariota in. The biggest issue though with me is the injuries. That's my thoughts. And edge rusher, I mean, I don't know about in the first round just because we already got Sweat and Chase. I'm like you guys said in the comments. I'm definitely I'm not. I don't mind getting a edge rusher in the third or fourth round. But I think first round's a little bit too early. What's the name of the guy? I know who you're talking about. I know who you're talking about. And how do you join your channel? If you're asking, like, I think channel membership is right next to the subscribe button. And if you're talking about getting on the channel right here, I mean, I might do something like Ed Oliver does, where I might just randomly pick some guys or whoever to come on the channel and talk, once a month or something. But let's see. So yeah, I appreciate the donation. If that's what you're asking for, you can clarify in the comments section. Let's see. Someone said something right here. Mariota. Wait, I would take Mariota over Jimmy. I mean, I I think yeah. I mean, you have to consider you're gonna have to give up a second for Jimmy G. You're gonna have to pay him, extend him. So yeah, I think I would take Mariota. I think Jimmy G's better, but or he has, Mariota has a high ceiling, but I'd rather take Jimmy G. But in terms of what we'd have to give up for him and we would have to pay him, I'd rather get, a veteran and then draft someone in the first or second round. That's definitely something that I would do. Yeah, because Jimmy G costing us a second, that's too much in my opinion. That's too much in my opinion to give up for a guy that you're gonna have to pay over 30 million a year. And I don't think you can go far with him unless you have a really, really good roster. And I think we have a solid roster, but not good enough to, win multiple playoff games with Jimmy G. I really, really don't. Um, Michael says, I say draft a young slinger, new brand, new rookie QB. Why not? Well, the only reason is, this class isn't great, and that doesn't matter. These experts don't know all, everything. These scouts, even, general managers, they don't know everything. I mean, there's guys, of course, Tom Brady, but, other guys like Dak Prescott, Kirk Cousins, Russell Wilson, that, Derek Carr, that weren't drafted in the first round, that were still, top 15, even higher than that. A lot of those guys, quarterbacks. I mean, but this quarterback class isn't supposed to be good. I mean, I don't know. I really don't know if they want to draft a rookie, but they have to do something. They have to do something. I would not mind if they sign like Jameis Winston and then draft a guy in the second or third as like a guy that if if he hits, that's great. But if not, you didn't invest like a huge amount in where like you can't move on from him if the opportunity presents itself that you can get a Deshaun Watson, a Russell Wilson, whoever becomes available. Tyrone Williams, appreciate the new, becoming a channel member. I, haven't really worked on that in a while, but I'm going to try to add some new perks there, some new emojis and stuff that you guys can do, but appreciate the channel member. And yeah, so I mean, that's where I'm at in terms of the quarterback scenario. There's no really, besides getting the top guys, there's no really clear cut winner just because of like the rookie class isn't great, the free agent class isn't great, and it's going to be very hard to get it's going to be really, really hard to get a top quarterback, but it is what it is. Let me see. I just got a notification about Washington. I'm trying to see what it is. Let's see. I don't think it's anything. Okay, nothing big at all. Kyle Shermer, who is our practice squad QB, is going to the Bills, but as a coach, which is that's funny, but whatever. So, any more questions, you guys can go ahead and put them in the chat, and then we're gonna go ahead and call it a stream. Appreciate all you guys for coming in. Next couple weeks, not going to be too much. I don't think happening around. So any videos you guys have, go ahead and comment down below. I'm thinking about doing like a Chase Young injury update video and you know, some free agent videos. Like I might do a free agent video tomorrow or a we'll see. We'll see which, you know, video I do, and just give me some video suggestions down below, and you know, I'll shout you out if I do end up using your video suggestion. And also, please go ahead, follow my Twitter. Let me go ahead and put the link in here. I'll go ahead and follow you back if you guys follow me soon. Likely, how likely is Russell Wilson being traded at all? I would say like 30%. I don't think it's a very high chance. But, you know, if it does happen, I think we're like one of the top 3 teams that could trade for him, like us, the Broncos, and then the Eagles and like the Panthers. I think we're in that mix right there of teams that would trade for that would be able to trade for Russell Wilson. Oh, I know who you're talking about, Tyrone Williams. I think what's his name? I think he what's his name? I don't know if he's. I think he's going to be in the draft next year, but he's going to be. He might be a first round pick next year. But yeah, he is elite. I think he won like the award for best tight end. He's really good. But I just don't think he's going to be. I don't think he's in this draft. If correct me if I'm wrong. What's up, Yemi? Long time no see. Appreciate you coming through. It's been a while, but appreciate you supporting the channel. So I think that's going to go, you know, that's going to do it for the stream. Appreciate everyone for coming through. Subscribe if you guys are new. We're trying to get to 7,000 subscribers on here. I'm like, what, 200 away, a little bit less than 200 away. So appreciate you guys for doing that. And, you know, videos are coming in the next, you know, always going to be posting videos for you guys. So thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. Appreciate everyone for supporting the channel. Thanks, Yemi, Tyrone, Eclipse, Michael. Let's see. X Crush, Vamber, Dees, Vance, One Life Music, Philip, Eclipse, Will. Thanks everyone. Peace, guys.